friends, what is going on? Welcome to the Section 103 podcast, which is a podcast that celebrates and covers from the past, present, and sometimes future. I am Matthew Ryder. I've been a wrestling fan for, 19 years. Time is absolutely flying by. And I am joined by the one, the only Peyton. What is going on? Who are you?
What's going on, everybody? My name is Peyton. We'll just go that here. On YouTube, I go by Prince Aqua. Over there, I might make some, gaming videos, retrospectives, whatever. But this is my bread and butter. My first love, the pro wrestling. I have been a fan since the very first show I watched was Extreme Rules 2009. The story goes, so I'm told, is that my parents threw a party back when my dad was in the military. I was 3, if you can believe that. And they bought the pay-per-view, and my eyes were just glued to the screen directly. And the day after, I went out with my mom. We got me my first little wrestling set. It was this was on Jax specific, like the transition from Jax to Mattel. And I got an Elimination Chamber with Edge and The Undertaker. And then I got a 2-pack Mattel. It was Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho. Still have all
my
of them.
first Mattel 2-pack. That was my first Mattel
Really?
2-pack.
Really? Okay.
Yes,
wow.
sir.
Damn. Yeah. Wow. But yeah, no. Wrestling, from that day on, I have watched, it's been a part of my life every single day. I'm almost 20 now for, you want to take that how you will. But yeah, no.
I'm very surprised you stuck around after Extreme Rules 2009 because that was one of the pay-per-views that absolutely broke my heart. I remember very specifically Edge and Jeff Hardy. I'm like, Jeff's winning the big one again. Punk cashes in 2 years in a row, and then the Summer of Punk and Hardy happened, which was a great feud looking back on. Phenomenal. But 10-year-old me at the time just was not about it. I'm going to reverse a little bit because I kind of hit you with that FTI podcast introduction where I try to get myself out of the way and talk about my guests. So for our listeners, I've been watching for about 19 years. My first show was around, I want to say, September or October 2006. I remember Cena was the champion and Cyber Sunday was coming up 2006, or maybe No Mercy, one of the two. Anyways, I remember one of my first matches was the Jeff Hardy and Johnny Nitro feud. And I was too young to understand wrestling, of course, because I was 7. But I thought it was so crazy that like there was these like larger than life superstars jumping on each other. You had DX doing Suck It at the time in 2006. And then, fast forward to Survivor Series 2006, Armageddon, and so on and so forth. I was just absolutely hooked. And I mean hooked. I want to say the first thing that really got me into wrestling to like be my go-to every time I need an escape, every time I want to watch something, was WrestleMania 23, which I hope to cover sometime in the future. Because when Jeff jumped through Edge on the ladder, I genuinely thought he killed him. And I was just like, holy shit, this is real. And then it's still real to me, damn it, as the saying goes. The Section 103 podcast is not only going to cover current day events, which we'll get into in a quick moment, but our main bread and butter of the show will be grabbing a show from the past. As you read from the title, later in this episode, we're going to be covering Survivor Series 2008. But from the past to the present, Peyton, what happened this week in wrestling?
Yes, so this is going to be the segment here. As mentioned, we cover everything in the week of wrestling. I'll touch on, like a general base of everything. The main shows I watch all the WWE, the AEW. I also do New Japan, Stardom, and Marigold. I'm getting into Stardom and Marigold. I kind of started that this year. I watched a lot when Julia was on there. I think you guys will learn over the coming weeks. That's my heart right there. So we are kicking off here, the big one of the week. On Raw, John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title. For starters, I just want to say, great match. I love Dominic Mysterio. He is one of my guys as well. He's up there on my list. Giving him a John Cena, and like it kind of was. It's come apparent that like they really do trust him. I mean, he had CM Punk's first match. Yes. When he came back. Granted, it was a live show, but they still trusted him with that. And, he obviously wrestled in AEW, whatever. But there's that, he's been in all these big time feuds, but giving him John Cena on the retirement tour, I know that this was a name he wanted to face for the Intercontinental title, no less. Cena finally wins the big one there. Really cool, reversal setup to the finish there with the AA. But yeah, John Cena, Grand Slam. How do you feel? How do you feel about that?
I absolutely loved how it kicked Raw off. I just knew it's Cena's second last Raw. It's in Boston, where they wanted to do Saturday night's main event earlier this year. But yes, the emotion that they were able to bring from a segment celebrating John Cena, Dominic comes out at the perfect time. He builds that crowd up. He's getting the heat. Triple H is in the corner. And then I'm just like, I know what this is setting up to, but I want to act like that fan who has no idea. And Dominic and Cena were able to get you so emotionally invested in just a war of words that when it came time to have the actual matchup, I was like, holy shit, Cena's finishing it as Grand Slam. I was so excited.
Yeah. Definitely agreeance there. The promo getting you to feel the thing again, I'm a Dom Glazer, but Dominic Mysterio, man, he really went, he held his own for sure. You think about promos and Cena's one of the all-time greats. Your Cena, Punk, little bit of maybe crazy. I think MJF can cut a killer. If he's given, the right, I was watching actually a couple hours before this, his promo with CM Punk.
The Thanksgiving one.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
to kind of get me a little hyped up for this. And I was like, oh, what? Yeah, it was awesome. But, going back here, Dominic Mysterio, again, incredible. I expect him to go into the world title picture. I would not be surprised if fairly soon, especially with CM Punk as the championship, the champions. They want to maybe run that on television. But Cena, obviously, again, this is our big focus here. You would have to assume for Saturday Night main event next month, it'll be for the IC title, obviously, retirement match. Did you think though, because again, we've been watching years and years, he won world title after world title, never seen 17 and whatnot. Did you think he was ever going to win the IC title, or was that just going to be one that he never got?
I was at Money in the Bank 2024 when he announced his retirement. And fun quick side note about that. So the women's Money in the Bank ladder match just happens, and I'm like, okay, this is my time to go to the bathroom, grab a beer, go back, and I hear Trish Stratus's theme song come on, and Danielle, my girlfriend's texting me. She's like, you got to get back to your seat. I was like, why? It's not going to be John Cena or anything. She's probably just going to announce the attendance. And then Trish Stratus announces John Cena. He runs down. I was like, holy shit. So he announces his retirement, and I was like, oh my God, he's winning the Intercontinental Championship next year.
Okay. That was what you were set on. Okay.
Because beating Ric Flair's record, I assumed it was going to be Cena when he was active a few years before. But I was thinking of active competitors, and I genuinely still thought it was going to be Randy Orton. But the way Cena's year kicked off, the whole Rumble thing, I was just like, yeah, I understand why they did that. They could have gave Cena the Rumble, but Cena doesn't need the Rumble to go to Mania.
Yeah.
They turned him heel, which we'll definitely talk about it probably 50 times during this podcast run.
Yes.
But what I really enjoyed about Cena becoming Intercontinental Champion was he started the year as a heel champion, took the title, said he's going to make it the best thing ever. And the picture of him holding the WWE Championship, mean mugging straight face, to Intercontinental Championship, actually smiling, holding it up. Man, I'm so amped that he wanted to complete it.
Absolutely, yeah. I think for sure, kind of going back to the heel thing, when that happened, that was what the fuck, couldn't believe it. That was probably in recent memory one of the few times where I was audibly what the fuck happened. I could not believe it, but Travis Scott aside, but that's a whole other thing. But just going and I thought that the Cena heel stuff was very mixed. The CM Punk pipe bomb, awesome. The start was super hot. And then,
Yes.
kind of went the same thing, how the finishes are, whatever. I'm sure when we get to Cena's retirement in next month, I'm sure we'll dabble much more into like, his legacy and whatever. But it's also very apparent that John Cena is at his best, when he's, John Cena, when he's a good guy, right?
Agreed.
So I think, it's the right move for him to be the champion as a face and heading out rather than coming in and when he was a heel and whatnot. I think that especially also this starting off the show, super hot.
Yeah, because it really paved the way for the rest of the show, so the crowd can still be invested. Because that was a really loaded card from top to bottom.
It was, yes, and I do have the rest of the card here, moving kind of into a little more John Cena, but different opponents here. As you may know, the Last Time Is Now tournament is kicking. It underway. Different from the tournaments of wrestling that I usually enjoy. The G1s and whatnot. This is just a standard, whoever goes on wins the match advances, and it all culminates with the winner facing John Cena, again, assuming for the IC title. But in this tournament here, we actually had 2 matches. I'll go in order, so I'll save the second one for later on, as we, make our way down the show. But the first one was Rusev defeating Damian Priest to advance on in the tournament. Any thoughts there?
I am a big Damian Priest guy when Damian Priest is him. Like, yes. I'm really enjoying this slow burn he has with Aleister Black. I like the homage, and maybe it's on purpose. Maybe it was just a creative decision on Damian Priest, but him having the red eye, reminiscent of Aleister Black wearing the eye patch from 2020. I thought that was really neat because Damian Priest is really selling this attack from Aleister Black. Was I surprised Rusev won? Yes, because I was honestly expecting like Damian Priest to get so close to the tournament final and then Aleister Black does something. But how it was just a clean, like, I think not clean because there's an eye rake, but Rusev winning round 1 was pretty neat. How about you?
Yeah, I do love me some Damian Priest. I didn't watch him when he was Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor. My first real introduction was when he first arrived in NXT. His debut is phenomenal. Like, genuinely one of my favorites. When he shoots the air out the Titantron, I think he attacked Pete Dunne, I think. That was dope. Really cool there. Black and Gold NXT that's my favorite time of wrestling. Well. But Rusev, on the other hand, I was around when he debuted and whatever. It was 2013 or 14, if I'm not mistaken.
With NXT, yeah.
Yes. When he was Alexander Rusev, actually, that was forgot about that. But yeah, no. So then he leaves and he comes back. I really liked him in AEW. He was I thought, like, especially the gear, like, it just made him, presented super cool, and like the TNT run was cool. And then he comes back to WWE, and I think they are starting to head in the right direction. This was obviously a great direction here. The match itself was, it was cool. I think that the upcoming match and the tournament, as a big Shinsuke fan myself, that was what I was looking for. But yeah, no. Happy for Rusev. I don't think he's going to win. We should just get this out of the way now. Who do you think is winning the tournament? I am pretty sure I have 2 options, but I will let you take this one.
The internet, every member of the internet wrestling community knows to expect Gunther. They really do. But I was reading the other day about Javon Evans, and that would be really neat. And that would be so, like, you guys thought you knew where you were heading. And even if Javon Evans wouldn't beat Cena in that match, I still think it would be such a cool thing because Cena's building Saturday Night's Main Event around the NXT show and the NXT talent too. So what better way to really call it an NXT Saturday Night's Main Event with Javon Evans and Cena in the main event? What were you thinking?
You know what? I really like that. Big Javon Evans guy. I think he is, I mean, everybody's saying it. If you watch him, you'll understand. He is the future. he there will come a time, real soon, where I'm gonna sound like an old head at my age saying this. You see players getting drafted and they're younger than you, and you're like, I wasted my whole life.
Dude,
that's how Javon Evans is going. Yeah, that's how Javon Evans will inevitably make a lot of people feel. Probably, I think he might be a little older than me, if I'm not mistaken. But
I think he's 22.
Okay. So I still got some time. I still got a little bit of time. I can step in the ring real soon. But yeah, no. My two guesses. One, obviously, like you said, Gunther. I think logically, he doesn't. I don't know. I think the only person in the tournament that genuinely needs it, other than whoever they're gonna reveal for the last surprise, that'll be tonight as of recording this, the 17th. So whoever that is, if it's someone new, debut, whatever, we'll see. But I don't think anybody aside from Javon Evans necessarily needs it. However, Gunther is a guy I adore. Some of my favorite matches, he is excellent. I think that makes the most sense. But I was thinking about this the other day. I was washing my face, actually, preparing some things for this. And I was like, you know what? A wrestler who I have really changed my ways on is Sheamus. Not that I ever hated him. I never hated Sheamus. When I was younger, he was just kind of there. Like, he was a top guy, he was a world champion, but he was just kind of always there. I was probably, I assume, like you, a CM Punk, Jeff Hardy, whoever was in 2012, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, like that. Sheamus was always there, but then as you get older, I think, you definitely, I don't know why I'm talking like I'm an old head. I'm really not. But, you grow wiser as naturally expected. And I was just, you grow to appreciate the guys who really just like work, Baron Corbin was someone I wound up really appreciating, just with how like safe and on time he was. Randy Orton, I grew to appreciate. Sheamus is in that same boat. I was like, Sheamus is dope, man. Sheamus is real cool. So I think the story of, because also Sheamus's first world title came from Cena.
TLC 2009,
yes, the debuts and whatnot. So to close out with Cena, I think that the right idea is definitely giving it to somebody young. So whether that's, a Gunther or Javon Evans, like you said, which I think is a really great shout. I would also not be mad if they did it for Sheamus, and that would be a great match. Sheamus is a wonderful wrestler. So I would have no doubt that would be great. Winning the Intercontinental title, giving it to both, I'd be down. Yeah. Any, what do you think about those? Obviously, your Gunther, expected, but the Sheamus idea.
Sheamus would be neat because he was Edge's character's last WWE match in Toronto in 2022 or 2023. 2023, I believe, actually. And I think if Sheamus and Cena had like one good old-fashioned brawl to really send Cena away, that would be really cool. I'm also in that category of like appreciating the wrestlers we have now that we maybe didn't really appreciate back then. Mind you, 2014, 2015 Raw and SmackDown were really hard to get through. Cesaro and Sheamus as the bar really rekindled my love for Sheamus, started my love for Cesaro. But if there was a third man, I would love for it to be Sheamus. I can see why Gunther would be WWE's like selection, especially this is his return date after losing the title to Punk at SummerSlam, so to really give him a strong start heading into the Rumble next year in Saudi Arabia. But man, I'm striving for Javon Evans, and I can't lie.
No, that I honestly, that might be like, that's a great move. If he beats Gunther, I think he wins 100%. Honestly, but that is a very tall task at the beginning. But moving on to more of the show here, we'll touch back to the tournament multiple times coming up here, but a little bit of a promo-y brawling kind of affair here. War Games is coming up. Survivor Series is being built up kind of semi-slowly. It's not been the most exciting, if you want my honest opinion. It's been
Agreed.
just kind of whatever. But Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes helped out CM Punk fend off Logan Paul and The Vision. Actually, fun fact, and I keep up, again, weekly, daily, whatever. Had no idea that was the Seth Rollins faction, the name. I had no idea until researching.
Okay.
It made a lot of sense. It made a lot, that's kind of like a, no shit kind of thing. Had no idea that was their official name, was The Vision. But, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Paul Heyman, I guess, too. Yeah, so that, it was a fun little brawl. If you're into the build, I'm still kind of just like, oh well, like it'll be a good match. I have no doubt about that. It's a War Games. It's kind of hard to mess up that formula. Blood and Guts too. Same thing. It's hard to have a bad one, but the build could be a little bit better.
My fear with War Games is exactly how I felt about gimmick pay-per-views like Hell in a Cell, where they're really just throwing everything together because it's that time of year without it really making like a whole lot of sense. Mind you, the Vision and Punk and the Vision and Jey Uso have always been like a ongoing feud in recent memory. LA Knight not being a part of the build, very interesting. Very interesting. But I don't really see War Games this year as this is like the blow off they need. I just kind of see it like it's an excuse to have that double cage, double ring match. So I think WWE is just as excited to get past War Games as we are.
Yeah, I kind of touched on that though. Just thought of it. You mentioned like the whole gimmick pay-per-views and whatever. Are you of the opinion that they should be? It's not special, but like you take a Hell in a Cell, for example. Should that be like, continue that as like a yearly thing, whatever, or use that on the occasion when it calls for it?
I think it's the occasion when it calls for it. Like, I think if you had Hell in a Cell going every year and it was during the time of Punk and Drew McIntyre, even if their feud never got to the level it did, we all still would know a Hell in a Cell was brewing. Yes. But knowing that the Hell in a Cell came because of the animosity the two had towards each other. Another one is Edge and Finn Balor at WrestleMania in Hollywood. I thought that was the perfect time to do it. But if it was still that yearly pay-per-view like a TLC and such, it kind of like loses the why behind it. Another quick one before we move on is how that SmackDown, what was it, a 6 tag team at SummerSlam this year, that TLC absolute car wreck.
Oh, yes.
That was so much more special because it was an occasion match instead of an expected yearly match.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I'm 100% in agreement. I don't think I could have worded that better. I agree there. But continuing on Raw, the show feels like 3 hours. Stephanie Vaquer, I love her greatly. Also one of my favorites. She had a good world title match against Raquel Rodriguez. And then afterwards, Nikki Bella attacks Stephanie, setting herself up to be the next challenger. You can only assume. Quick notes from me again. It was a solid, good time. Stephanie Vaquer, very hard to mess up a match with her, and Raquel has been really killing it. I was able to see her. Yes, this year especially, I was able to see her live. It was when I went to Saturday Night Main Event with Punk. What was that? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. She and Bayley were the opener, and I was just really just impressed with her. Like she. I love my Bayley, and Bayley won. I don't think that was aired on the broadcast. It was just like a opening, dark match, whatever. But Raquel's really good. She has really come to her own. And then as far as Nikki Bella goes, I do like Nikki Bella. I've been into the run she's had, this year, being a regular, you could say, on Raw, and I don't think she's been on SmackDown much, but Raw, primarily. And I always thought, she was a good wrestler. So I'm excited to see that, actually. I do hope that they go pretty hard. I don't know if they will, but yeah. What are you thinking about that?
Raquel really took that criticism from Kevin Nash and turned it into
Yes.
something so special. And I know I sound like every other wrestling fan out there, but Raquel genuinely could have just like turned that into something negative, really like
Mhm.
tweeted back at Kevin Nash to make it more than
Yeah.
it needed it to be. But she took it as advice, as criticism. And she's honestly been my dark horse for this year because she is
Mhm.
thriving. And then
Absolutely.
Nikki Bella on the side as well. What stuck out from me for Nikki Bella was kind of like Trish Stratus 2 years ago, where the women are proven that they can be later in maybe like their 40s, because I think both Trish and Nikki are in the 40s to early 50s, and they're
Mhm.
really working like why can the guys do it up till their 50s and it's okay, but a woman doing it past like 35 and you're like, whoa, calm down. So
Exactly.
Nikki
Yes.
has really been killing it,
Mhm.
and Nikki does her best work as a heel, and you saw it in her
Yes.
face when she
Mhm.
turned. You're like,
Yeah.
that's Nikki Bella. That's
That's
2015 Nikki Bella.
absolutely. Yes. Now that was gonna touch on that too. Yeah. Perfect analysis there. Yeah. Nikki Bella. Just I mean she was a good, like, now that she's of a legend status. It's much easier to just be like, the good guy just because of your status as is. But she works much better as a bad guy. But now we get into oh boy. Yeah, moving more of the last times now tournament. Um, Sheamus defeated Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, unfortunately, defeated, but I was thrilled that he was there. Again, we will learn much on Shinsuke Nakamura. Is one of my all-time favorites. He is in the top 10, maybe even the top 5. I absolutely adore him. When I was 10, I did his little side hair. If I have a
Yes.
picture of it, I'll show it next time. But it was a really shitty haircut. But yes, I love Shinsuke. Even if nowadays he is enjoying his life as he should, surfing and taking great photos, which I I don't know if you've seen his photos that he's
Yes.
taken. Incredible, absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
But it's always just good to see him. I love him. And Sheamus, we touched on it earlier. That is, I think I'm maybe leaning towards him a little more than Gunther. I love Gunther, but yeah, I think the Sheamus is it. The match was great. Maybe I'd probably say it was the best of the tournament. I imagine Gunther and Javon Evans will take that pretty quick, but for a tournament that I wasn't expecting, like, again, I watched like the G1 and Stardom, the Cinderella and the 5-star and whatever. You're expect Worlds Collide. What's the why
The
is it
Worlds
escaping me?
Collide.
The Worlds Collide tournament. Is it just called the Worlds Collide tournament, right? Or does it have a
With
name?
like the debut. Yeah,
With
I think it's
not World. Oh, sorry, AEW's
the Continental
the
Classic.
Continental Classic. Yeah, Jesus, wow.
Yeah.
That you expect a lot of the top tier matches there. So I wasn't expecting, like, nothing like a classic for this, but no, it was very good. We get on to our main event, and this is of just Raw here. The Kabuki Warriors, so that is Kairi Sane and Asuka. They defeated Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss to capture the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. And then after, and they had some scuffles and interferences and all that. Io Sky and Rhea Ripley returned to fend off Lash Legend, Nia Jax, and the Kabuki Warriors. So that is setting up the I almost called it Blood and Guts. That is setting up the War Games for Survivor Series on the women's side. We'll get to Charlotte a little bit later on the SmackDown side because some developments happened with that there. But the match was, they're 4 very dependable workers. And I will kind of touch on like the women's wrestling, both in like Stardom and Marigold, but also when we get to Survivor Series 08 coming up here, and just like the parallels of it. But yeah, you can always just expect a good, worked match. This is, as far as Kabuki Warriors and Asuka, they've won the tag belts a couple times. They still are kind of missing their mark with like the tag team championships. I thought they were at their best with Bianca and Jade and Naomi, like that trio running things. That was probably when I would say it felt the most important, and back in the pandemic with Monet and Bailey. But they kind of feel more like I guess you could say like just pieces to have to just like elevate something without giving the title a purpose. Like, you think the world titles for men's and women's, they have purpose. Intercontinental, so on and so forth. The women's tag and the men's too, honestly, unfortunately, that is one thing I feel like they don't really have a crazy importance right now. That could be better, but regardless, that takes nothing away from that's, any championship is a big accomplishment. And then War Games, EO is always incredible. Rhea is always incredible. That's good, and I believe it'll probably be Charlotte and Alexa. I don't think the only other name I had was Bianca. I don't think she's ready yet. With the finger injury, I believe she still has that. And she's a bad guy now, whatever. But the one that I'm more interested in is the villainous side. Naya's Naya. Kabuki Warriors are there, but Lash Legend, I am big on Lash Legend. I think she is really cool. Seems that Triple H is big on her too, which is a kind of a rarity, but one that I welcome in this scenario. I think she has everything ready, and they've been slowly putting her in. I believe she's still like technically a part of NXT right now. I don't think they like fully transitioned her to the main roster yet, but I love that she's there. Do give your thoughts on. I'm mainly curious what you have to think about the teams and the War Games.
I want to begin with saying Lash Legend being paired with Nia Jax is an incredible duo there, because Nia Jax won me over since she's come back this time around. I could not care for her work, her matches prior, but man, she is doing the best work of her career, hands down. The Lyra Valkyria match at King and Queen of the Ring was so great. I absolutely loved that. Her win, I think it was over Bailey at SummerSlam that same year. Another good match. So Lash Legend getting the Nia Jax as like her partner for the foreseeable future. Amazing. On top of that, I fucking love, and I can't stress enough, how Charlotte and Alexa lost the titles without one of them screwing each other over. I thought that was so awesome. I was definitely expecting this to result in like the typical partner screw partner. Now they fight each other at the next big pay-per-view. I am just so happy that they dropped the titles. Charlotte on SmackDown, as we'll get to soon, kind of just said, nope, you know what? So you're still continuing this tag team without saying like, you're the reason we lost the tag title. No, you're the reason. I'm really excited for War Games personally in terms of like the women's match, and it's mainly because of EO, because that's EO's match. That is EO's match.
That is our first show of the week. We are now moving into NXT. JC Jane and Tatum Paxley, they have a little promo, which sets up a future match at Gold Rush. Gold Rush is going to be with Triple A. It's going to be with TNA. Evolve, which they own, so I'm not sure why they're like marketing it as that, but they a whole slew of show. Maybe hopefully I'd like to see them add Noah. I doubt that would happen, but that'd be cool in a short-term notice. But anyways, yes, Tatum Paxley captured the title from JC Jane not too long ago. Very, very happy with that. I think she is incredible and has consistently been one of the standouts in NXT. Even when a time when it's very much they have a lot of new faces in there, which is obviously not a bad thing. But NXT went from how we were talking about how Black and Gold was like our favorite time. It is now very much it is quite literally the developmental of all the new stars, which is great. And I think that NXT is wonderful. Actually, I might be in the minority. I kind of hear a lot of people say that they're not too big into NXT, at least now, but I think it's great. But yeah, Tatum Paxley has been one of those people that even though she is new, she is just very special. She gets it. Same with JC Jane. I cannot say enough good things about JC Jane. I think she really is one of those people who, again, just gets it, and she is always getting better. She's been handed a lot of unfortunate scenarios, and she has been able to turn them into gold. No pun intended with the whole gold rush. But yeah, they set up a future match. I'm sure that'll be great. Not so much on like, the promo. The promo was great, but I am curious to know how you feel about Tatum Paxley. We had started this around when we were forming this. I think she was like just freshly won the championship. Like it was like the day when we started talking about it. So what do you think about Tatum Paxley?
Jeff Hardy for men, kind of like persevering through like struggles and like hardships, is Tatum Paxley for women, and that's how I've always viewed it. Maybe the analogy only makes sense to me, but Tatum Paxley isn't like a fully put together character in terms of like that's her character is like she's like crazy, she's very like temperamental, she's very like spontaneous, and Tatum Paxley plays that character so well that when she won the championship, she just proves to like anybody, you don't need to be like a Charlotte Flair, a Tiffany Stratton, a Bailey Monet to like win championships. You just need to be authentically you. I am personally a big fan of it.
From one promising young talent to another, Thea Hale, who I think is amazing. She defeated Alba Fire. I keep wanting to say Alba Fry, but it's not. It's Alba Fire. Then they had some interference with Ethan Page, Chelsea Green, and Joe Hendry in there. It was solid. I like Thea Hale a great deal. I think that I don't think Shawn Michaels honestly has had very many misses in NXT, but I think his handling of Thea Hale has been one of the few, just because I think she is definitely ready, like in a Tatum Paxley, JC Jane sense. Give her the ball, give her the North American, give her the even the world. I think she's got it, hands down. But I'm just a little more upset. I'm still upset over the Chelsea Green and the Julia thing. That's still that's
very
still
fast,
grinds my gears there. But I love Ethan Page, and I like Chelsea Green a great deal too. So it was cool.
I share the same sentiment. Yeah, like honestly, right from that, you took the words out of my mouth. Like Chelsea Green, Ethan Page, two of my favorites on NXT especially. I enjoy how Chelsea knows she wants to bring Ethan up, and Ethan is just ready. He's been on the indies for so long. I met him in 2017. It was a great time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll link the YouTube video in the description if I remember. Sure. We have a little spot in the match where he throws 18-year-old me his t-shirt if I go buy another t-shirt on his table. So
really? No way.
Dude, it is the craziest and the coolest thing. I've literally watched the guy. I watched the guy come from a bingo hall essentially in Guelph to like NXT, AEW, WWE, you name it. It's really cool seeing his come up, and now he's where he's always wanted to be. And the rest of this card too. Like I know I'm going to kind of move forward on the card here, but another name is Ricky Saints.
Yes.
And Ricky Saints doing this right now, I can't help but smile for him because he wanted it just as bad as Ethan Page. And to fight Trick Williams in that main event match, man, I only caught the highlights of it, but wow, just so awesome. And Oba Femi too. Like, man.
Yeah, I absolutely. That is... I'm still kind of geeked over the Ethan Page thing you just told me. That was like a nuke bomb. I did not know that. That is really cool. Yes, we will, like you said, we will get to Ricky Saints here in a moment. Continuing on, quick little like promo thing here. Leon Slater, who I love. I've been exposed to his work through this NXT TNA partnership. Him and Javon Evans teaming up to fight off Dark State in a quick little fun promo. Battle there, promo battle brawl. Ricky Saints defeating Trick Williams in a last standing match to retain the NXT title. Killer match. Absolutely, yes. Ricky Saints, as you mentioned, super just happy for him. Really worked his way to be there. I really liked him in AEW. That was, I'm sure, where most people were exposed to him. But yeah, and he was wonderful there, with Powerhouse Hobbs, Taz, Hook, all them. The matches with he had MJF that in that world title feud, the little mini feud, that was really cool too. Danielson as well, who could forget that? But yeah, WWE, he was one of the guys where it was just like that. When's it coming? It was, inevitable, and he's been killing it so far for sure. I think it's kind of hard with. I feel like a lot of the AEW to WWE talent, like your Ethan Pages, your Ricky Saints, they've always kind of had this uh, cloud hanging over them where it's like, oh, well, you came from AEW and they want to boost you up. They're just going to give you the title, or they're
Mhm.
going to give you, X feud, whatever, push you to the top. But I honestly think they've all done a really good job settling in. Ethan Page, I think, is by far the best of it. Like, he's really been like a, a team player, I guess is probably the best way to put it. Like, he has been maybe it might have not been expected. Like, you would have expected, Ricky Saints to have been instant. You would have expected Blake Monroe instant. But Ethan Page has been the highlight of, I think, honestly, and this might be like kind of a crazy one to throw out there. I would say he has been the best signing. Like, when it comes from AEW to WWE, I would maybe even put him over Punk. Like, I think he has been absolutely phenomenal. But Ricky Saints, getting to him, he I think he's just now really like it's clicking now. It was just always an inevitability. I think same thing with Blake Monroe. She's been pretty instant too. But Ricky Saints, yeah, I definitely think who ironically enough, where it started to come out was when feuding with Ethan Page. Um, really has been brought out now, and he is becoming the top guy. And Trick Williams, I am a Trick Williams guy, actually. I think he is really cool. I think the kill shot, his finisher, one of my favorites right
Yes.
now. The analogy that gets thrown around is that he is a mirror wrestler, and to tell you the truth, I do agree. I think he is going to mirror who he is facing. So if you give him like a Brian Danielson, it's like holy hell, what a match. But I think he has been good. I think he is approaching the NXT Super Senior level pretty quick, and we got to get him
Yeah.
up there real soon. Whether you want to pair him with Carmelo again, maybe you want to put him on Raw. Um, take your pick. But I think that if this is maybe a send off for Trick Williams, couldn't have asked for a better way to go out. This was a killer match. We get on to AEW. This one, fairly short show, just like notes, just because it was blood and guts, so they centered it. They had 3 matches on the entire card, 2 of which were blood and guts matches. The first one, which I think should have main evented because it was really good, but it was the women's blood and gut match. It was the team of Mercedes Moné, Marina Shafir, Megan Bayne. I will get to Megan Bayne in a second because she has had quite the week. And the Triangle of Madness, which is Sky Blue, Julia Hart, and who else am I missing?
I feel terrible that I don't keep up
There's
with it.
Tekla. That's her. Yes. They were all in the match, and they defeated the team of Chris Statlander, Harley Cameron, Tony Storm, Mina Shirakawa, Jamie Hayter, and Willow Nightingale. Excellent match.
Excellent match.
Super, super, super good. The MVP was Marina Shafir. She's another person who was like a Raquel. Not to like keep going back to her, but in like the sense of taking the advice and really like just changing what you were doing.
Hmm.
She is married to Roderick Strong, so you kind of were like, you're gonna be great regardless if you give enough. And being in the group, the Death Riders, especially, you have John Moxley, you have Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia, Pac, Claudio. Like it clicked, and she was sensational in the match. Megan Bayne was great too. She didn't give a fuck. She was just throwing shit. Like
Yeah.
she was really going hard. But yeah, and Mercedes Moné again. She is one of my all time favorites in that list as well. Um, yeah, I feel like with the blood and guts and like war games and whatever, they usually give them to like it's a like they're all really good matches, but it's always to set up the baby faces prevailing. So it is nice to see the heels get it done every once in a while there. Adam Page, Hangman, Adam Page, he defeated Powerhouse Hobbs, Falls Count Anywhere. It was solid too. Like
Power.
it's hard to say that. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say no. Powerhouse taking that fucking butt bump off the announcer's table. Man,
Yeah.
cringed. I felt
That
terrible
was
for him. Oh my god.
that was bad. That one was real bad. But regardless, good match. Which this is setting up Adam Page and Samoa Joe for Full Gear. Which should also be a good time. But overall, again, good show that should have been the woman in the main event there. But we now have SmackDown. Charlotte, they had a little promo. We kind of touched on this earlier. As it seems at the current moment, she is not joining Team Io and Rhea at War Games. It was really good development of the character there, remembering things of the past, which has been something WWE hasn't done. Definitely not back in the Vince days. Really,
Kevin Owens would be really happy because Kevin Owens loves his
Kevin
fluidity.
Owens remembers, yes. And then we had more Last Time Is Now action. The highlight of the show for me, Ilya Dragunov defeating Axiom to retain the U.S. title. God, I love Axiom. A-Kid, Axiom, whatever you want to go with it. I think he's awesome. They're pushing Penta. Ray Phoenix, I hope they'll push him. I really hope they'll push Dragon Lee. I think Dragon Lee's fucking dope. But Axiom is a guy who I'm like, please give him the moon and the stars because he is awesome. Especially that DDT that he hit on Dragunov in the match off of the rope. That was a thing of beauty. But yes, I would like to know how you felt about not only this, but I guess the Ilya and the Sami Zayn, like just the U.S. title now that they're doing the open challenges again.
Something that I think that I'm very happy about as a whole, looking at WWE as a company, is that the crowd no longer looks for the next Rey Mysterio with masked wrestlers, because that was such a shadow to get out of for all these masked wrestlers. And now that they all present such a unique style and they all kind of have like their own thing going for them, why you want to watch their specific matches, the Rey Mysterio shadow finally being gone from like a Penta, Dragon Lee, and Axiom.
Yes,
I am such a fan because it was always so, I guess for lack of a better term, sad that these guys like Kalisto would do like the TLC 2015, put one of the Usos through the ladder, and but you're like, wow, that reminds me of Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio's never done that.
He has never done that. Rey Mysterio moves great, but I can't recall a time he did that.
The Salito del Sol or whatever, but the United States Open Challenge going to Dragunov was the best thing that you could have done to make Dragunov such a threat on the main roster, because Sami Zayn brought it back not only to be the workhorse that he's always been, but to hand it off to someone like Dragunov, who we know can go, who we know can put on really great matches, but he does it every Friday. So as you mentioned, if there's one thing to talk about SmackDown on, it's that United States Open Challenge match. I hope that he carries this for the foreseeable future. I wouldn't be surprised if he did like a surprise lose, like how Sammy lost to him, but Dragunov needs to like make this like the workhorse title like Gunther did with the Intercontinental.
Absolutely, yeah. It not to be a salty Julia fan, but this is what I wish they would have done for her. Bring it NXT talent or other places, whatever. And then I did just quickly, you mentioned the Rey Mysterio shadow. I agree. I think that it is great that we're now just seeing them just care more about like the talent individually rather than like who's going to be that Rey Mysterio. Because even like when it was, you had Alberto Del Rio back then, you had Andrade, Kalisto, like you mentioned, Sin Cara. Yeah, I can go for days. Any of the talent, they were just trying for that. But I also do think it's helped, given that Dominic Mysterio has been able to escape that own shadow. Like, he might have had it the worst, being the son of Rey Mysterio, and he's been able to separate. Yeah, now he's been able to really be like, his own guy, which is awesome. The other thing of note to really touch on here, another Last Time Is Now tournament action. LA Knight, he did win, but the opponent that was selected, it was a surprise opponent, and it was none other than Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
Zack Ryder. How do we feel? Were you a big Zack Ryder guy? back
I was a
then?
huge Zack Ryder guy in
Yeah.
2011, and I was a big Zack Ryder guy in 2012. The one thing that was so funny to see was the comparison between LA Knight current day versus Zack Ryder
Hmm.
2011,
Yeah.
because they share so many similarities. They're so damn over with the crowd. They work the crowd to the gimmick. They have like that Hollywood, they have that like celebrity gimmick going on, and
Mm.
just reaching. They're just reaching,
Yeah,
brother.
it's for
I'm
sure.
happy LA Knight went over. Very, very happy.
We've touched on we don't really care about the men's war games much, but I will say that I think it's cool that with Cody Rhodes, they are giving him unique opponents to work with. Like they had an Aleister Black match a couple weeks ago, which is cool. Now we have Bronson Reed. Hopefully, we can see Braun Breaker soon. I think that'd be killer, but that's also kind of a bigger match to set up. That was SmackDown there. I do want to ask because we do have New Japan. Uh, nothing crazy. All the stuff for New Japan, Stardom, and Marigold. It's not been such a crazy week. They're all just kind of setting up for things. In Stardom, the Goddesses of Stardom tag tournament has been well underway. With New Japan, the World Tag League is just starting. I do want to know though, how familiar are you with like Japanese wrestling just as a whole? Like what's been going on?
Exposing myself, like all my cards are on the table. I'm the worst
Mm.
player in the casino right now.
Okay,
This podcast will get me to be
this will
familiar because
be it.
I only know like what I see online and when I'm talking to with friends.
Mm.
But to keep up with a week to week product, never have done that. But I am looking
Okay.
very forward to it.
All right, cool. Then yes, this will probably honestly be my favorite section when we cover like wrestling, getting to the Japanese, the Joshis wrestling, all that. It has been honestly the thing that has kept me engaged the most, especially getting into like Stardom. So I hope with the goal of this, not just for you but for everybody, that I can get get more people on board because it is cool. New Japan's kind of ass right now, but it's cool. So yeah, with New Japan again, nothing too crazy this week. There was a fun little like sideshow. Superhuman Taiji Ishimori gets ridiculous one more time. That is the name of the show. I did not just write a fun note. That is the name. It's essentially just he kind of goes through a gauntlet of like various wrestling matches. Cool stuff. But yeah, the World Tag League is coming up here pretty soon. The night one preview has the main event of Yota Tsuji and Gabe Kidd going against Drilla Moloney and Shingo Takagi. They're kind of doing the whole like theme of this World Tag League is kind of different wrestlers from like different factions kind of teaming with each other. Now Lij isn't really much a thing anymore. They're now the unaffiliated now that Naito and Bushi aren't there. But yeah, like you have Yota Tsuji and Gabe Kidd teaming together. Gabe Kidd is part of War Dog. Well, I guess now he's a part of the Death Riders. He's just kind of he just shows up everywhere. But yeah, I am going to quickly go over the teams as well as my prediction of just who's winning. For the A block, we have Bishamon, which is Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto. We have Bolton Oleg and Toru Yano. Yota Tsuji and Gabe Kidd, as mentioned. We have Evil and Don Fale. He's not called Bad Luck Fale anymore. He's just now Don Fale. We have Taichi and Satoshi Kojima. Happy to see him always there. El Desperado and Suji Ishikawa, who we brought in. Shingo Takagi and Drilla Moloney. Yujiro Takahashi and Chase Owens. That is for the A block. I am probably going to say that the top two picks you can choose there are going to be Yota Tsuji and Gabe Kidd and Bishamon because they've won. They had a three-peat in 21, 22, and 23. They won the whole tournament. So that's always a pretty safe bet. And then the B block teams, we have the newly brought in Knockout Bros, which is Oscar and Yudo Ice, Zack Sabre Jr. and Ryohei Oiwa, Lance Archer and Alex Zane, Hiroshi Tanahashi and El Phantasmo. Didn't expect Tanahashi to do the tournament, but I'm pretty pleased that he did. Shota Umino and Yuya. Oh my god, I love him to death. David Finlay and Hiromu Takahashi. Pretty interesting there. Great O'Khan and Kyle Newman. and Ren Narita, and my favorite wrestler from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Sonata. I fucking love him. But yeah, and then as far as the B block goes, it probably makes sense to do the Knockout Bros. I think Zack Sabre Jr. and Oiwa would make sense, but my money is on not El Phantasmo. My money is on Shota Umino and Yuya. I think they should win. I think that I would give him the tournament, or to please me, you can give it to Sonata. That's totally cool too. But I think that one makes sense. I have them winning the whole tournament there.
Okay.
As you are planning to get yourself exposed, do you want to make a prediction here?
I'm gonna go total just based off the names here because I'm only vaguely familiar with maybe less than 10 names here.
Mm.
I'm gonna go the Knockout Bros for the B block. I'm gonna go Archer and Alex Zane for the B block. And then for the A block, I'm gonna go Desperado and Shuji. And I'm gonna go Evil and Don Fowl for the
Okay, interesting. All right, I could honestly probably they love Evil. He was just in the G1 finals against Konosuke Takeshita, just barely fell short to him. So wouldn't surprise me honestly if they gave it to him. But yes. With that though, one last thing with New Japan that I wanted to mention. This is kind of sort of older news, but I figured I would still bring it up with the relevancy now. Wrestle Kingdom 20 is coming up in January. They sold out the show. They broke that news a couple days ago. Hiroshi Tanahashi's his last match, that is the main attraction, and it was revealed to be none other than Kazuchika Okada.
Rainmaker.
He's making his travel back to Japan to be Tanahashi's final opponent. There was some talk about it being Shinsuke Nakamura, but for one reason or another, they haven't quite really said that it's like a matter of politicking. But yeah, that obviously did not happen. So it is Okada, which I think makes a lot of sense. They're not doing like the giving it to a young guy. If they did, I really think I think Yuya or probably I think he is ready. I don't think Yota Tsuji needs it. I think he needs a world title win a lot more than he does a Tanahashi match. They wouldn't give it to Takeshita again because he beat him for his last match in America. I don't think that would make sense, but Shota would be cool too. He's kind of in that boat of like I think he's still just figuring out, but I think Yuya is probably the closest that isn't Tsuji. Like I think Tsuji's about established as like the future guy. So then that kind of leaves Shota, Yuya, and Ryoe, and I think that Yuya is probably the one that's most ready. But yes, that Wrestle Kingdom's in January. That is my favorite time of the year. That beginning of January time frame there, like the December to January. So we will be very, very busy there. But Stardom, again, nothing like insane to report here as the Goddesses of Stardom tournament is well underway here. I did not write down all of the tag names just since it was like already starting. But as of the current moment, the leaders of the Red Goddesses block is the Aquastella team, which is Yuna Mizumori, and Mei Sura. The Blue Goddesses block leaders, the Mega Skyscrapers, which is Hanako, and as we mentioned earlier, Megan Bain. She has been making a very interesting trip this past week. She flew to Japan to start off the tournament, flew back to America to do Blood and Guts, won that, back in Japan doing the Goddesses of Stardom tournament. Again, I myself am still getting well into Stardom. I've made pretty good progress. I'm proud of myself. I do have my favorites. Obviously, our big one, Miss Seiya Kamatani, is not in this tournament at all. She is the world champion, and she is going to be at a Dream Queendom defending, and then hopefully, she's going to be at Wrestle Kingdom as well. I would imagine she's probably winning in December and then going to Wrestle Kingdom. But yes, and then Marigold. Again, nothing like super crazy to highlight except for one thing. that I just thought was absolutely ridiculous. Mayu Iwatani, who is the Joshi Goat, and she is the current Superfly champion in Marigold. She faced off against a wrestler named Coco, who I was not familiar with. The crazy thing about Coco, and I alluded to it a little earlier about seeing players getting drafted that are younger than you, and you're like, what the hell am I doing? This girl, Coco, is 15 years of age. Not 18, not even, young 20s. She is 15 years of age, and she is fucking nuts. She is dope as hell. She has a cool little luchador mask. I love her gear, and she killed it against Mayu Iwatani. And especially to be given a match like that, Mayu is I guess you could probably just say the ace of Joshi wrestling as a whole at the moment, especially now that Ia's been gone, Julia's been gone, all of them. Mayu is the it girl. And to throw this, again, 15 years old, to throw her somebody like that, it was a championship match as well. Mayu obviously won. She retained the belt. But and to be so fucking cool, like I was really like, you know what, that's dope. But that was the week in wrestling. All things considered, even though we were here for a while, pretty light week. It's just setting up for War Games, for Full Gear. In Japan, we have our World Tag League getting going. Goddesses of Stardom tournament has been well underway. But at the beginning, we did have John Cena defeating Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title, and now it is up to the last segment of our show here, where we are going to go over a show. It'll alternate between me and Matt. This is Matt's week here. He has chosen Survivor Series 2008, so we're just going to kind of go over the show. We had watched it. I unfortunately was very late to watching it, but I was able to watch it, fortunately. So with this, we also kind of just want to talk about, why we chose it for one reason, whether it's a sentimental show, if we wanted to troll and just pick the worst show or our favorites, all that good stuff. So I'm curious, if you may enlighten us, what made you go with Survivor Series 2008?
Man, the headline that all wrestling fans nowadays would probably say is oh, you picked it because Cena won his first world title there. It was in the same arena. He won the Intercontinental Championship. And there's a lot of similarities between 2025 John Cena and 2008 John Cena. Wholeheartedly, I picked it because the time frame of 2008, or the year rather, sorry, is one of my favorite years of WWE of all time. It was Jeff Hardy's rise to the top, which a lot of my selections for shows, spoiler alert, will be centered around 2008. I'm telling everybody now. But yeah, as I just mentioned, John Cena won his first Intercontinental Championship to become a Grand Slam champion in Boston at the TD Garden, but he also won his first World Heavyweight Championship, same arena, in the same city and arena, of course. His opponent was my favorite version of Chris Jericho, which will be the main event of this segment here. Survivor Series 2008 was a 6-match card, which is a really light match card compared to later years in WWE. It's on average to be about the same amount of matches you get on the average WWE show right now. A really cool thing about this show, and it's something that really makes me feel like an unk, as I've been referred to by my cousin lately, is it was a 3-brand show with Raw, SmackDown, and WWE ECW. It was hosted on Sunday, November 23rd in Boston, Massachusetts at the TD Garden. The reported attendance for the show was 12,498 WWE Universe members, but it's also one of those things where WWE inflates the numbers to look better on TV. So we're just going to say the reported attendance is around 9,000 to 10,000. The theme song for the event was the same as the tagline, which is spoiling for a fight. It was by AC/DC, and the show was brought to you by the day one purchase video game that I bought as a 9-year-old, SmackDown versus Raw 2009. The tagline's alone you're great, together you're unstoppable. And fun fact, it was the first Survivor Series that was presented in HD, which nowadays is a given because we're at 4K. But before this, it was just SD television all the way.
Wow. Yeah.
As Peyton mentioned, the show is built around John Cena, but it's his triumphant quick return as he was always doing in the early 2000s from a neck injury suffered at the hands of Batista. Previously at SummerSlam 2008, Cena took a nasty leg drop Batista bomb counter. I've seen online that it was a storyline injury. I've seen that it was a real injury. In the match, it was somewhat of a real injury because he had the scar on his neck. I digress. Right now, Chris Jericho is doing the best work as a heel, but also as world heavyweight champion, recently winning it in the championship scramble. But I also mentioned this as well. This is during my favorite WWE storyline of all time, Jeff Hardy's rise to the top to become WWE champion. I have such a soft spot in my heart for Jeff Hardy. Currently, right now, I'm looking for his Ultimate Edition WWE figure at the pretty much a same price, because right now it sells anywhere from $200 to $400. I will put it in my Amazon wish list down below. And to put the cherry on top before we get into the matches, this show had a fun stage design, which kids nowadays will never know what that means. Survivor Series, Unforgiven, No Mercy, SummerSlam were all so unique. They just were not one big panel screen. Do you miss the unique stage designs, or do you care less for them?
100%. I did want to note, like in this little introduction to the show, which was phenomenal, by the way, you killed it. I just gotta say, I had done a little bit of like research just like on the show just beforehand. Just kind of seeing like what the times were like around then. Like I had mentioned my first show was Extreme Rules 2009. I'm also equally like as nostalgic for like 2008 just because it was same time. Pretty much like everybody I watched when I first saw the show was in 2008, with that year difference. But the interesting thing to me, the HD thing, because if you watch the opening like promo, the monologue, whatever, you see the camera shots that are not in HD. It was very. I was like, oh wow. And like obviously, weird thing to be nostalgic over, the WWE HD logo. Like that's no longer a thing now with like you said, with like being in 4K and whatever. But that's always a fun logo to see. And yes, I imagine we will get to the Jeff Hardy World Title win in the coming weeks. I'm gonna just pencil that one in. And yeah, SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. Someday we will talk about games, but the 2009, 10, and 11 are that's that, and All Stars, WWE All Stars was
All Stars back
excellent.
to back to back to back.
Yes, that was a hit. But yeah, with all that being said, if you want to take, I didn't, my bad. The stages, totally forgot about that. Yes, custom stages. We only really see them for WrestleMania nowadays, which is cool. I'm not gonna, there have been some great stages. The WrestleMania, the one with the roller coaster. That's my all-time favorite stage. Yes, that is my all-time favorite stage there. And like there have been a lot of cool ones too. But yeah, it is mostly now panels up on there. That was something like I was when I had went to Saturday Night Main Event November 1st here. I was kind of like taken back by the screen. Like it was, like you said, it was just all one big panel. It's really cool in person, but it's really lame at the same time. So yes, I do miss the stage designs. Absolutely. Some of my like all time, and like they've had a lot of great moments with them too. Being, even if it's just something small like props, like I'll always remember John Cena, the Big Show choke slamming him into the little like light fixture kind of deal.
Backlash 2009.
Yes. Yeah. And like that wouldn't have been possible without a unique stage design. But when you just have that little panel, the LED screen, I mean, you can only go so far with that. Though they did try and make it work when they kind of sort of brought it back in, I think that was 2019. Kevin Owens doing the little like skateboard ramp
off the rock.
Yeah. That and when they it was Big Show, I think, and Braun Strowman blasting through the stage, like that, there have been cool moments, but nothing like, I mean, the most iconic is the SmackDown fist, right?
Oh yeah.
or like even a little more like our time, the WWE the logo, just like always being there, the big ass logo just right on the middle. Um, but yes, I do miss it. Though we are lucky enough to see it in this pay per view. So if you may kick us off with the opening match.
Oh my man, I am more than happy because I went into the show blind. I went into the show remembering what I remembered, but I didn't know the layout of the matches. Why would I remember that from a show that was
Yeah.
almost 20 years ago? The teams to open this 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series match, which was also on Survivor Series, not on SmackDown. It was Team HBK that saw Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio, Crime Time, and the Great Khali versus an absolutely stacked team of bad guys. You had Team JBL with JBL, Kane, MVP, John Morrison, and The Miz. The reason why I say Team JBL was quote unquote more stacked was the star power on both teams was there, but looking at the resumes of the superstars years after this, Team JBL wipes Team HBK any day. I would say the heavy hitters are just Shawn Michaels and Rey Mysterio.
Yes.
Crime Time as a tag team, I think, was really short lived during their like 2000, I think it was 6 to 2008, 2009. I think stint, the 3 to 4 years. Great Khali was only really serious in about 2007 before he became a Punjabi playboy. But I really think that my takeaways from this match were the biggest one was Rey Mysterio moves in 2008 like he does in 2025. Absolutely a menace. He flies. He had so many fun segments. Another really cool callback to this match was the John Morrison and Shawn Michaels comparison. With you watching in 2009, I think you were getting more of a face John Morrison rather than a heel.
Yes.
Do you see the comparisons between the John Morrisons and the Shawn Michaels?
Yes. Like again, like you said, given that he was more a face around the time when I watched, which made sense because he was, fucking awesome. Like he was a guy that I was really big on. I am familiar with when he was Eminem, Joey Mercury, which is also awesome. I just really like John Morrison. John Morrison's dope. Joey Mercury, super underrated. They had Melina, like it was awesome. But yes, I think around this time, especially when you get to like 09, 010, definitely like 2011 when he was probably at his most famous quotation marks on that. I do see the Shawn Michaels comparison. Maybe not so much in a sense of like if you want to look at it like Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels, Miz, John Morrison. I don't think I see it that way just because one
the Miz is the
actually
Michaels.
Yes. Yeah, he ended up being the Michaels. But definitely in like even like the ring gear, the Moxie, I get it there for sure.
Another thing about this Survivor Series tag team match is it's not a multi-man tag match without the eliminations happening left, right, and center. JTG to MVP, the 2 eliminations happen super fast.
Yes.
That transitions into the failed WrestleMania 23 match between Kane and the Great Khali. They tried so hard to replicate that Andre and Hulk Hogan body slam at WrestleMania 23. It didn't really pay off. But the fun thing there was when they used Rey Mysterio as a weapon. Rey Mysterio gets that Khali assisted shoulder body splash onto Kane. Todd Gresham calling out my favorite thing of the match. It was actually Word Up versus the Dirt Sheet, which if you were alive at the time or you're familiar with the time, WWE used to run exclusive web shows, Word Up being Crime Times, the Dirt Sheet being Miz and Morrison's. And then once HBK came into the ring mid-match, the crowd just got up. And I mean, like, the crowd was like, this is who we came to see.
Yes.
And it's really interesting to me how, like, we get blood here and there, but it's usually accidental. But they just let Shawn bleed, quote unquote. I don't know why I said quote unquote there. It makes no sense there. For a long period of the match, where I remember specifically a match between Finn Balor and Samoa Joe in like 2015, 2016. Once Samoa Joe started bleeding, they stopped the match until Samoa Joe was no longer bleeding. So I've been so conditioned.
I do remember that. Yes.
I've been so conditioned to that. Rey Mysterio, just, I know I already said it, moved crazy in this match. All in all, really fun match. Team HBK won. The ending was super, super, super creative. JBL tries for his clothesline from hell on the outside. He misses, gets counted out. John Morrison is lining up HBK for a Sweet Chin Music. HBK says nope, ducks it, hits his own for the win. Really fun opener. What did you think of the match?
Yeah, I going with the teams. It's so interesting looking at it now, like just seeing where everybody is at. Whether they're like retired, like JBL and Shawn Michaels, they're still going and amazing, like Rey Mysterio. I thought that it was interesting the structure of just like the 5-on-5, like who they chose. It was like, you know, your main eventer, your mid carder, a tag team, and a big. Same thing on the other side. At the time, JBL was the main eventer, Kane was your big, MVP was your mid carder, Miz and Morrison were a tag team. I remember the Miz and his shitty little mohawk.
But the shorts were perfect.
The shorts were, he. That was a look, man. I think the trunks suited him well. John Morrison, we touched on earlier. I've always been an MVP guy. Really liked him. Kane is one of those ones where like I actually wasn't big on him. Like, but I loved like the first like 2 years of his career. Like when he was like, you know, when they were really hard on the whole like Undertaker brother rip off the cage thing, and like the mask and dope. JBL, I've grown to like again over the years. I can't say I remember him much as a kid, only because like he was retired. But I do remember when it came to like I don't know if you did this like when you were younger, had it on car rides, the little like TV, the DVD player thing, and I had my little wrestling shows, like I would buy DVDs. The one that I watched the most was WrestleMania 25. And JBL, yes, that was when he retired. He stuck to the retirement, which is not very much seen today. But yeah, and then you know, HBK side, Shawn Michaels and Rey Mysterio. What can you say? Crime Time. I'm in the same boat with you there. I did like them when they were around. Unfortunately, you know, Shed Gasper no longer with us. But still, you know, great time. Wish they would have won the belts. And then Great Khali, when I most remember him was the Punjabi Playboy and the red gear, and you know, he was who was he with when he did Santino? I think he had a stint with.
He had a manager
Jinder Mahal,
at one point.
Yes, Jinder Mahal was there. Which theme music fucking heat. Just to put that on there, like Great Khali's was fire. Jinder Mahal's his first. Well, all his themes were really good, but his first one, like when he was like first starting to be a singles wrestler, I think it was like 2011, 2012. Tough. We'll have a couple really tough theme songs here, but back to the match. Or one more thing, you did mention the WWE, the online. When they really push the website hard. They don't push the website hard as much nowadays, which is really unfortunate. I think that's just kind of more a sign of the times, because you look at like, I mean, I remember playing like Cartoon Network web games, even like something like a Cool Math games or like whatever it may be. I did that in class instead of doing my work a lot of the time. But I do remember WWE.com. Like all the exclusive web shows, like you mentioned with fucking with Word Up, did Dirt Sheet, all them. Todd Gresham was a throwback. I kind of forgot he existed. That was a cool thing you put in there. The match again, so like you said, super fun opener. Really fun opener. Again, crowd goes ballistic when they see Shawn Michaels. Rey Mysterio, man, like that's what I was honestly really the most impressed with, just because like, you know, he has been doing this for a really long time, and he's still moving, like how he was in this match. Yeah, absolutely awesome. And this is around getting to the tail end of Shawn Michaels' career. He retired in 2010. So this is kind of the start, and then you go into the WrestleMania match with Shawn Michaels not too long. I mean, with Shawn Michaels, he wrestled himself with The Undertaker, which is probably why I think that and the WrestleMania 25, the ladder match, were probably why I watched that the most.
Yes.
Out of all my little DVD rides there, but yeah, no, HBK, like that was a special little run. Fun little fact. I'm a little jealous of it to this day. My parents went to Shawn Michaels' retirement match, WrestleMania 26, and
In
they have the
Arizona.
yes, they have the jersey. The WrestleMania 26. There was a jersey that they sold. It's in my mom's closet to this day. I actually saw it the other day, which was cool. They didn't leave me out there. I was too young to have gone, and I especially was not good with like loud noise then. So I they got me a Rey Mysterio replica mask, and it's like the
That's
real deal.
all we
Like
need.
it's leather, yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's damn near like an official mask, and I still do have that. But yeah, no, that doesn't take away. I mentioned that all to say, this was around the tail end of Shawn Michaels' career, and he still didn't let up. Like he was still, the showstopper. He was the guy. And also another little fact too, Shawn Michaels is my dad's favorite wrestler of all time. So,
Boom. Yes, sir. Shawn Michaels
that
cosign.
yes, that I'm born to like Shawn Michaels, and yeah, he was stellar here. Yeah, the only thing I was a little disappointed, just because like I'm not a big fan of like the trope to begin with, were the little quick eliminations that we had at the beginning. I was just kind of, like I like to at least see everybody get a little bit of playtime. But yeah, like I said, like you said, great match, fun opener.
That was an amazing opener from HBK to his tag team partner in DX, Triple H.
Mm.
He had a backstage segment with Eve Torres where they were doing that who done it, because the story going into this specific pay-per-view was Jeff Hardy was found unconscious in the stairwell of his hotel room. So everybody was pointing fingers. Was it Triple H? Was it Edge? Nobody thought Matt Hardy at the time, but let alone a few months later, it might have been Matt Hardy. We'll talk about that at a future date. From that, we get our second traditional 5v5, but this time it's for the woman in Peyton.
Yes.
If you don't like quick eliminations, you're going to hate this match because this match came and went before I was even done writing my thoughts. We had Team McCool, otherwise known as Team SmackDown. It was Michelle McCool, Victoria, Maria, Maurice, and Natalia versus Team Beth Phoenix, otherwise known as Team Raw, which had Beth Phoenix, Mickey James, Kelly, Kansas Michelle, and Jillian Hall. The first thing I wrote about this match and I thought about this match was a clusterfuck of two teams. It was truly a clusterfuck. Yes. But to WWE's credit, now looking back, it was a lot of star power. Thinking about who's really survived through the years, Natalia being my big one. She's a redhead. She's super young.
I do remember that, yes.
She's evolved consistently since then. I love that. Like, that's the tweet. That's it. It's Maria's theme song. Maria's theme song is Brother. If you're thinking about the Girls Next Door's theme song, it's Maria. But then I was like, you know what? What else happened in this match? Jillian Hall's theme song, brother.
Yeah,
she sings it.
Yes, Jillian Hall, man.
But if I could turn the theme songs up, I'm turning Jerry the King Lawler's commentary all the way down because, brother, I know who he's trying to talk to. It was just so annoying. Everything focused on what the girl looked like instead of what they were doing in the ring. I wasn't really there for the King's commentary. Michelle McCool and Beth Phoenix being like kind of like the face off at the beginning, really well executed. It was really awesome. It was good back and forth, a few fun moves in there. Beth Phoenix still had the comparisons to China, so to really build on that, but also build Beth Phoenix as her own, going against someone like Michelle McCool was awesome. And then I think what was really neat about it being a brand versus brand was Team Raw implode. No, not Team Raw. Sorry, Team SmackDown imploded because Michelle
Mhm.
McCool and Maurice couldn't get it together. So then the crowd and Team Raw are chanting "Let them fight." Really awesome. I will say the woman did go longer without a first elimination, but it quickly changed
Hey.
because the elimination started to come. As I was typing that out as well, Kelly Kelly eliminated Victoria. A very, very, very weak backbreaker eliminated Kelly Kelly by Maurice. And then before I pass this over to you for your thoughts mid match, Michelle McCool and Mickey James had me smile because they're a year away from what I would say is one of the most memorable feuds from that time frame.
Mhm.
Before we get to kind of like the ending of the match, what did you think of the match at the very beginning?
Uh, you know what? A short win's a win. The longer elimination, a short win's a win. We'll take it. Yeah, no, the one thing I didn't have much of note on the interview with Triple H, but I did think it was interesting that Eve Torres was the interviewer. Obviously she would go on and win the Divas Championship. Um, and yeah, with the theme songs, Maria's that's my favorite theme song I think ever. I would have to. It's good.
It's
I'm
there.
pretty sure I texted you the other day about it. So yeah, I that is like one of the few songs wrestling that like I would unironically listen to like in the car, which I did. But yeah, the match. It is interesting. Like looking back again with this, I do see the star power, just in like a lot of different aspects of it. Like maybe not so much in terms of like the oomph and their accomplishment, but like I mean, because Jillian Hall at her worst was memorable. Like
Yes.
you remember the singing, like you said. Natalia been here years and she's still going. Been a big Maurice fan. Her theme song is also fire. Um, Maria would wind up becoming Maria Kanellis, doing with Mike, her husband, whether that was in Ring of Honor, their short stint back in WWE, whatever. Victoria, Candice Michelle have kind of established like low key legend status. Michelle McCool would become a big time player. Beth Phoenix, big time player. Mickey James already was. Kelly Kelly would eventually be a big time player for the short time she was there. Um, so yeah, maybe not so much in terms of like oomph of like accomplishment, but more so just I think they were all very memorable. Like I think I probably would have remembered all these names before Great Khali, but
Yeah,
um,
100%.
yeah, and the match, yeah, like it was nothing special. The thing that I wrote in my notes, touching on Jerry Lawler, fun fact: I have met him. He is the only wrestler I've ever met. And he was nice. So I don't want to go too harsh because there could potentially be a chance that this was just what he was fed to say. Do I believe that? Maybe not. Yeah, commentary. I'm not he has not evolved his style. That's probably why they don't have him on very much nowadays. This and the structure of the match with these shorter run times and like the divas formula, far cry from what we get today, and that is a very good thing that we do not get what we got back then. A lot of our women now are they're more fleshed out. Like I mean, even if we go something like the Charlotte Flair earlier on SmackDown this week, that had character like that,
Mhm.
and that was from someone who, not like sounding harsh, has historically kind of not always had a character. Charlotte Flair, her thing has just kind of been like, I'm the daughter of Ric Flair. I don't need a character. I win. We don't get that with any of these. I
No.
mean, we have the SmackDown roster imploding, which is cool. And as you mentioned, the big feud going into the following year. But yeah, like whether it's even WWE, which is still not where it needs to be, but it is a big step. Or something like how I talked about Stardom and Marigold. If we did this show when this show was happening, Survivor Series 2008, we wouldn't even be covering Stardom or Marigold because, I mean,
No.
one, they weren't around, but also just for, the sake of like how far women's wrestling has come. So that was kind of all I took away from it, not so much the match quality.
Yes.
Although I think you had mentioned it earlier with Nikki Bella and Trish Stratus, coming back nowadays. Michelle McCool's kind of only really done it for the Rumble. Beth Phoenix did it for a little bit. Mickey James did it for a little bit. A Kelly would be pretty cool to see somebody do that. But I think now she's probably much bigger as an influencer, so I doubt that would happen. Natalia, Loki legend, of course. But that was, my main thoughts weren't necessarily the match, just because like it was kind of what you said. If I were able to write anything, someone got eliminated.
Very fast.
Or it was very very fast. So it's just more a visual sign of how far we've come.
And the roller coaster peaked at this match with the excitement because Beth Phoenix was the sole survivor for Team Raw. And I absolutely knew what we were heading into next. And I only knew it because I was sitting here going like, there's 3 matches, 2 World Championships. The next match on this card is a casket match between The Big Show and The Undertaker. And me at 9 years old, with me at 26 years old currently, thought the exact same thing. Absolutely like I knew that this match was just going to be a quick Undertaker versus Big Show, but that word quick you could just drag out because it dragged on. JR doing what JR does best, and that's putting over the Big Show's feats of strength. He's putting over the way he's built, especially going against the Undertaker, and the Undertaker's playground being the casket match is really nice. What I thought was really interesting behind this match was the fact that the majority of the beginning was spent outside, because when you're veterans in the company, and I'm acting like I'm a wrestler, I'm just the guy who watches it on TV and talks about it. But I think that The Undertaker and Big Show knew that if they would have done any like slower pace moves at the beginning of the match inside the ring, the crowd wouldn't have reacted for anything. So The Undertaker hits a quick leg drop through the table, which was pretty awesome. And then another thing to also call out on this match is how the Big Show has to find creative ways to throw punches because his finisher is the knockout punch. So he can't just fully out punch you in the face because that's his finisher, but he does like a little punch to the gut. The Undertaker just socks him in the face, doesn't sell it like it's the KO punch from the Big Show. Speaking of that leg drop through the table, we saw the Big Show go through the quote unquote Spanish commentary table of what it is now, because the ECW table just absolutely imploded under the Big Show. But from that fun leg drop later in the match, we saw an old school, which if there's a move to break the illusion of professional wrestling, it is old school by The Undertaker. The Undertaker reminded me of his flying clotheslines, which was really awesome. I thought that Undertaker was moving like a 2007 Rey Mysterio at this time. It was pretty damn awesome. The Big Show breaking the casket near the end was interesting to me. I knew when he broke the casket, of course, we're going to get a bigger casket or a second casket to break the illusion more, worse than old school, but to the Undertaker's character. You had the Undertaker summon fire on the stage so Big Show couldn't escape. You get the Undertaker's drugs bring out a second casket, and the way they end this match was so anticlimactic. It was so anticlimactic. They stand the casket up. The Undertaker pushes the Big Show into it. The Big Show falls with the casket. That's the ending of the match. If there was an OMG moment in SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 to click Y or a triangle on, it would be the ending of that match. What did you think?
Yeah, a little behind the scenes of this podcast here. I have my notes on my phone. I completely forgot to put them in to our little planning thing here. So it has nothing on it for my section of this match, and that's kind of how I feel. It's nothing.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, at the same time though, this is kind of why you love wrestling. Like you mentioned at the ending part, the fire on the stage, the druids, it's fucking stupid, but that
It's
even the
wrestling.
old school. Yes, this is why we do this. That doesn't mean that I thought this was good. So it was very as 26 and 9-year-old you put it. JR is JR though. Shout out to him there. But yeah, no, I uh
Yep.
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate too because that doesn't very bode well for kind of like I guess a lot of what this time was like. We there's something a little later on in the show with Triple H and Vladimir Kozlov.
Main event match.
Yeah, main event. And it was just kind of more like I was like, okay, I'm very nostalgic over this time, like '09, whatever. But then I kind of start to think about it, and I'm like, well, okay, The Big Show and The Undertaker, Triple H and Kozlov. What am I actually watching? Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to get the something you kind of mentioned, like when you were talking about the old school move and like being a keyboard warrior and internet mark, whatever. It's so hard to not like apply that here, just because of like am I watching the Big Show and the Undertaker in Big 25? No, not really. But like again, to kind of combat that, like I said earlier, this is why you love it. It is stupid. The match may have been nothing, but like I mean, it had its fun moments. Like again with the leg drop and the casket and like all the dumb antics. It's a casket match. You're gonna have the dumb antics.
Yeah.
I know like to use more recent casket matches with like Darby Allin as an example. How they I guess kind of more structure it as like a match per se and like less of like silly antics. But this is what a casket match is. It is a gimmick. It is it's dumb fun. So while yeah, it was maybe not a flashy match. The gimmick's always going to be fun. It's the anticipation of like, oh my god, he's going in the casket. That's what you do it for. So it's all right for me.
When I thought that the show had 2 matches left after this, I now was greeted by another 5v5, but this one actually had some steam behind it. It was Team Orton versus Team Batista. These two teams both have really good star power behind them. Team Orton has Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, Shelton Benjamin, Mark Henry, and William Regal. Team Batista has Batista, R-Truth, CM Punk, Kofi Kingston, and Matt Hardy. This time, I'm going to say that the faces win this one compared to the HBK and JBL because Team Batista was an absolutely stacked, even at that time in 2008, was a very stacked team. I can't hear Batista's theme song without thinking of Xavier Woods, more specifically WrestleMania 34, 33, 34, especially when they were doing the Battle of the Brands GM mode on Up, Up, Down, Down. Favorite all-time CM Punk look, even if that's the look that he screwed over Jeff Hardy at Extreme Rules 2009. CM Punk eliminates William Regal in 12 seconds, and I wanted to get that down to the second. So on Netflix, I rewinded it, I counted, I got to 12 seconds. As William Regal gets eliminated, the camera pans out to the ring. Corner of the ring, it's Manu, former Legacy member for a very brief moment in time.
Do you remember that? Yes.
And then there was former Deuce and Domino. I think it was Deuce. He was also prominent on WWE television at the time. He's the Jimmy Snuka's son. That's who I associate Manu with. Kofi Kingston hit a monkey flip to Shelton Benjamin, which Shelton Benjamin landed on his feet, reminiscent of a few years later. I think it was at Vengeance 2011. Kofi Kingston does the same spot to Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler lands on his feet. Matt Hardy, if he had a fork and a knife, he had a better time eating the canvas because he ate the canvas with a missed moonsault to Randy Orton. R-Truth, Rey Mysterio, I made the joke already. They moved very flawlessly in this match. R-Truth in this match specifically. I'm embarrassed to also say during this match, I yelled New Day when he went for the leg drop. New Day was not even a thought yet at current time in WWE. It's actually Boom Boom because he was the Jamaican Kofi Kingston.
Oh, yes.
Dude, I yelled New Day and it was Boom Boom. JR showing why he's an absolute legend on commentary. He hits, this is the evolution of Batista. This is the evolution of Randy Orton. You don't have to watch wrestling for more than a year to know that's a callback to Evolution, the tag team. Cody Rhodes and CM Punk facing off had goosebumps on my arms, maybe because my headphones were at 100, but these are your current day world champions facing off as somewhat rookies in WWE, not rookies as wrestlers, more so Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. Cody eliminates CM Punk. Batista quickly becomes the sole survivor of his team. But I will say the ending of the match was very Randy Orton doing his best because he blind tags himself in, reminiscent of another Evolution member, Ric Flair, tags himself in, eliminates Batista for the win. I thought it was probably a strong 5v5 tag match. I would say it's up there with maybe like one of my top 5 Survivor Series matches, only because when you have Batista on one side, you have Randy Orton on another side. Although their partners are really like they're star-studded, they're big guys, you're really watching for the story of the two main guys there. And I thought that given the win to Orton, especially how Cody Rhodes said in an earlier segment that Randy Orton and Team Orton wouldn't lose, was great. I enjoyed the match. I know the pay-per-view after this, I enjoyed the follow-up weeks to this. What was your thoughts on this 5v5 match?
Yes. I gotta cover the teams first here. Because this is very star-studded. You've probably seen the picture a million times before. It was around this time where they're all like in the, what is it, like the subway or like the locker room, whatever, that like iconic mural.
Oh, the WrestleMania 24
sitting.
magazine.
Yes. Of like how star-studded that is. This is really like because I thought the first match, you had Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio, eventually, like The Miz, whatever, JBL, Kane, Randy Orton here, Cody Rhodes here. Granted, he was, like you said, to your point, a fairly new face. Batista, CM Punk, like crazy names. Of note here, one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, Shelton Benjamin, and Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston is my favorite wrestler of all time. Shelton Benjamin is very much up there in that top 10, top 5. I am a Shelton Benjamin shooter, unlike nobody has seen. I was very pleased to see that he was here. And CM Punk, I love CM Punk, as I'm sure most people do. Unless you like AEW a lot, then maybe you don't. But I'm a two worlds can exist. I love my Kenny Omega. I love my CM Punk. But yeah, Kofi Kingston again, my all-time favorite. How am I not gonna love it? Obviously, again, you had mentioned he was doing the Jamaican thing at the time. This is well before the world title win. But really cool to see. Like just the star-studded lineup. William Regal is someone who you will appreciate as you get older for just being like a really good wrestler. I did always fuck with Regal. I had it was Easter of 2010, I believe. I got a William Regal Elite figure, and it came with a really dope ass robe.
Yes, sir.
So he was dope as fuck. Yeah. He was. I fucked with him. Like Batista's Batista, right? They will sadden me that someday there will come a time when people know him more as an actor than a wrestler.
I'd say the time is now.
yeah. It's coming up. Especially, he's a great actor though. Phenomenal. Guardians of the Galaxy, awesome. All that good stuff. But yes, no. It again, it's like one of those. I feel like that's kind of going to be the theme of or like my general sentiment of a lot of like the shows around like 2008, 2009 that we'll review. is just seeing how far they've come, and like how, like as you mentioned, a CM Punk and a Cody Rhodes stare down. That is insane nowadays. Like that
Yeah.
when they were building to the Rumble, the past like 2 years, and those like promo segments that they had, and just like, they're world champions. They are the current world champions as of recording this. Insane. But I do agree. The CM Punk look, I am quite fond of it as a nostalgic thing. I remember when he got his head shaved by the Big Show on the ladder, and he wore the mask and all that. But I love especially anytime he does pink gear like that.
Yeah.
I remember we're going back to WrestleMania 25. He wore the black gear with the pink little stars on it. Iconic. And that T-shirt as well, also iconic. But the only thing I didn't like that he did was eliminate Regal in 12 seconds again. I'm not a fan of the quick eliminations there. But I did actually have this in my notes as well. The Shelton Benjamin monkey flip. I just put Shelton really good is all I put.
Let's go.
I fucking love him. But yeah, no. You ranked it as like a favorite, and I'm trying to like think of all the Survivor Series matches. I think my favorite is probably still always going to be the 2019 with the NXT,
the three-way, the brands.
Yeah. That one is stellar. But I could totally see that. It's just a matter of like remembering what matches they've had in Survivor Series. But this one, doesn't take away from how dope this was. Awesome stuff. I didn't focus too much on like moves and setting up finishes, other than Shelton really cool. But I did think that the ending with Randy Orton, taking a page out of his legacy roots was really cool. And this was, as we all know, this was around, heel Orton era.
The menace.
You hear that? Yes, the menace. Punning Stephanie and whatnot. All that good stuff. So yeah, I definitely think that this was a stellar match. As far as ranking it, out of the the 3 5-on-5s we had, this one I don't think is hard to say was probably the best of the 3.
Yeah, agreed. Out of the 2 main events, this one I'm going to go through really fast because I don't want to bore anybody. We had the 5-star all-time classic. When you think of Survivor Series, you think of these 2 men, Triple H versus Vladimir Kozlov for the WWE Championship. And I can't tell you that if you thought The Undertaker versus Big Show was a barn burner, you are in for a treat with this 5-star classic. If I was going to tell you one thing about this match, other than the amazing ending, it's that Triple H and Vladimir Kozlov had super glue on everybody's ass in that crowd because nobody, and I mean nobody, was getting up for anything. Triple H tried a few hope spots through the match. It went absolutely nowhere. JR is doing his absolute best trying to put over the men. They're trying to say this is Vladimir Kozlov's first singles match at a pay-per-view. He's fighting Triple H, which is putting some gas behind Vladimir Kozlov. Absolutely love that. What I don't love is just the structure of the match for 2 big guys. I think they should have used the outside of the ring for their advantage and kind of like to their play, making it a really technical submission-based, holds-based match. Probably not the best way. Triple H, I think what happened, he gets a pedigree out of nowhere to kind of set up for the whole, he's here. And everyone's like, Jeff Hardy's no longer unconscious. He got off that floor of the hotel room. He is at the TD Garden tonight, only to hear, you think you know me. Edge comes out, looks like he's been sleeping in a forest for 3 months. He runs out. He's the 3rd man in this triple threat. Jeff Hardy says, not so fast. Jeff Hardy comes out. Another thing about Jeff Hardy in this match that really takes away from current day WWE is the unprotected chair shots to the head, because he absolutely smokes Triple H with a chair to the head. But then mere seconds later, Edge spears Jeff Hardy, gets the win. Edge is your new WWE champion. This sets up my all-time favorite triple threat match for Armageddon 2008, which is Jeff, Edge, and Triple H. We can talk about the beginning of the match from your perspective, but I know we're probably going to focus on the end. What did you think of this match?
Yeah, if I could have saved that I wrote nothing comment for a match, I should have probably used it on this one. No, it was it's weird to think that Vladimir Kozlov was like a stud back then. Like he was like they were positioning, because I think a lot of people remember him for being, silly with Santino, which I'm not saying was bad. Like, that was awesome, but like they booked Kozlov like he was like, the shit, like back, 08, 09,
No
whatever.
theme song at all. He was just killing. Yeah.
Yes, he so seeing that, like, it just made me think like, wow, I completely forgot about that. And Triple H, I kind of honestly thought about this the other day. Like, I was just kind of sitting there and I was like, when I think of like Triple H matches, I don't really think of like a crazy match. I'm not saying that like Triple H sucks, like, because I think Triple H, for as much as I think of him now as his mistakes with booking and like how crazy good he was with like NXT back then, I don't want to discredit his like in-ring career, because he was, he was there for a reason and all that. But the match is a nothing burger. However, like you said, the ending, awesome. Edge is also one of my all-time favorite. This show has quite a few of my all-timers. I think we've learned. I love Edge, especially like when he was just the conniving asshole. Like I love, modern day Edge when he's, cool guy, love the EW company, and when he was with WWE towards the end, being the legend and whatever. But the reason why we love Edge is because of how just what an asshole. But asshole. He was so awesome. He was awesome. And Jeff Hardy, it's Jeff Hardy. We all love Jeff. I don't think there's a single person on the planet who doesn't like Jeff Hardy.
Agreed.
Like Jeff Hardy is just fucking cool. And yeah, Edge winning the world title. I forgot this is how they set that up. Because obviously, like, when you think of this time period, you think of the Armageddon, right? You think of the triple threat, and Hardy winning the title. Edge was, going in. Totally forgot that this is how he won it. But yeah, I think my two biggest takeaways were I love Edge and Jeff Hardy, and I forgot Vladimir Kozlov was like a big time player. Because I could have swore, maybe I'm tripping. Didn't he beat the Undertaker on an episode of SmackDown? Like, I'm not like just gaslighting myself. I'm pretty sure that happened.
They built Vladimir Kozlov on SmackDown weekly leading up, I'd say, throughout 2008, if I'm not mistaken. Vladimir was like a threat. Like, before he had his theme song, he would just be in like the spotlight, come to the ring, annihilate, leave. But that match definitely needed a third guy in there. But a match that didn't need a third guy is the match that everybody paid a ticket for in the TD Garden that night. It is your main event, is the return of Mr. Grand Slam John Cena himself, taking on Chris Jericho. And this video package, I know the meme is The Rock and Stone Cold, but this video package is a really good video package when you're explaining what this moment means to John Cena. It quickly brushes through Chris Jericho's historic reign as World Heavyweight Champion, going through the likes of CM Punk, Batista, Shawn Michaels. At the time, people were legitimately despising Chris Jericho as a human, not even just a character, because how good his work was as a heel. But when John Cena's trumpets hit, I want to tell you, that's when you knew, no matter what happened in the previous 5 matches, people were here for this main event. John Cena slides into the ring, hits the ref by accident right away with the slide in. I thought that was just comedic. I thought that was awesome. The one move Cena hits in this match that I want to know if he could still hit today is that over the head front flip bulldog that he used to do off a rope rebound. I think it's called the throwback. A really cool thing, it was Chris Jericho hit the Future Shock DDT. For whatever reason, I was waiting for the commentators to say Future Shock DDT. Drew McIntyre was on SmackDown, but he was not Drew McIntyre just yet. I think he was tag teaming with the Highlanders or a tag team of a similar name.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So this was not the chosen one yet. What else happened? Oh my God. Just like the Dominic and John Cena match, Cena loves his hope spot rolling in the ring at 9. Speaking of hope spots, John Cena gets the crowd invested to recover, does it really well. Chris Jericho hits a bunch of fucking devastating moves to try to keep Cena down, but then the ending in true Super Cena fashion, getting his ass whooped. The FU, not the attitude adjustment, the FU puts away Chris Jericho for the 1, 2, 3. John Cena wins his first World Heavyweight Championship, goes to the crowd, kisses, hugs his family. You get a match replay of everything that happened and how John Cena's leaving Boston as your World Heavyweight Champion. I thought it was a great ending of a really mediocre to 3-star pay-per-view. What did you think?
Yes. The video package starting that off. Awesome. I don't think it'll maybe ever get talked about with the likes of like the video packages we hear about, like you said, the Austin and Rock and even like Daniel Bryan, Monster, whatever. Like maybe not on that level, but it sets the tone wonderfully. Chris Jericho, this was the time with the 2-pack that we had talked about at the start of the show. This was around similar era. I love this look. Chris Jericho, it's a shame that the last few years for Chris Jericho have gone how they've gone, because if he would have just wrapped it up maybe like 2019, 2020 AEW, I think we would remember him more as like the Chris Jericho that you were speaking about at the beginning, like, because it was a really good world title reign. Like Chris Jericho was on top of the fucking world, and I really loved Chris Jericho for the longest time. I mean, I still do. Like, I still think he's cool. But you know, maybe to his fault, maybe not. Depends on what aspect of him you look at. It doesn't match the heights of this here. But yeah, this is the John Cena show. All the matches before, well, okay, not all the matches. The Survivor Series 5-on-5s, that was cool. The Undertaker and Big Show and Kozlov and Triple H. But this is what you're here for, is John Mother effing Cena. And I love the World Heavyweight Championship. I totally forgot that technically, this is his first world title, World Heavyweight Championship win, because separating the belts and all that. Mm-hmm. And so undisputed belt, whatever. Like it's wouldn't be his first world title, but it would you get the point. It would be, first world heavyweight. Love that belt. I think everyone does.
The big gold.
Yes, the big gold. I do think that the new one is cool, but it's never going to be like, that is a perfect belt. But yeah, no. The ref up. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I completely forgot about that. Like when I was writing down. Funny. I don't think I've ever. I can't remember seeing something like that, at least in like the last like 5 years. I don't know if it was like accident on purpose, but it was that was cool. The match is good. Though, like Cena, especially around this time, like you don't really take in how like good a worker he was. Like, I mean, you can kind of, I mentioned with Trick Williams earlier, the whole mirror wrestler. You can probably use that for John Cena, maybe, but I think that was definitely more fair in the later years, like when he did like the U.S. Open challenge and whatnot. But like Cena's always been a good wrestler, good worker for sure. And like, I mean, it's obvious why he got to the top. Like, this is as classic as it gets. This is, all the kids in the crowd roaring, John Cena, that doing the FU. I also, I remember when it was called the FU instead of, what we've got nowadays. and the rolling in nine. Like it's just a good built match. I completely agree with you in saying that this was like, a good ending to an otherwise average show. Do I think like, because again, I'm putting it all in together. Um, one match isn't gonna necessarily save a show from a rating, but like it by far wasn't awful. I think that giving a rating, I'm gonna go. You put a 3 out of 5. If we're going 5 stars, I think I will also go with a 3 out of 5. And I do share kind of the same sentiments of like this being, the highlight here. Although Shelton Benjamin spot, right?
Yes, sir.
That was what we're here for.
If we had a favorite, if I had a favorite match of the night, we're looking at Cena and Jericho. If we had a least favorite match of the night, I'd be looking at Undertaker and Big Show. It would have been Triple H and Vladimir, but that ending saved it for me. If we're looking at a move of the night, it's definitely Kofi and Sheldon. And then like a 3-star, because it wasn't a 2-star. Why did I watch this pay-per-view? But it wasn't a 4 or 5. I'll go back and rewatch this around Survivor Series every year. That's my ratings. Before we send it home, what's your rankings of favorite, least favorite spot, and I guess overall rating?
Yes, I will give it favorite match, Cena Jericho. Least favorite, I'm going to switch it up. I will give it to Triple H and Vladimir. At least the Undertaker and Big Show. It had the gimmick. It had, the Druids. And, like, I'm always going to be happy seeing, the spooky scaries, whatever. Like, it's silly. Triple H and Vladimir Kozlov just didn't have that. It had the ending, though, but if anything, that could have been separated as, like, its own match, technically, kind of, sort of. So, yeah, I'd give it to that. My favorite move. What else? Shout out Shelton. And yeah, I too will give it a 3 out of 5. I maybe wouldn't it like if I think the great thing about getting to do this with you is now like what I get to watch back wrestling. I historically I don't think historically it's not that important, but I haven't ever like I'm somebody who does not watch things from the past. I have always been a present watcher, and that goes for every kind of media. Like if it's other sports, I don't go back and watch old NFL games.
Never.
I'm watching the new stuff. I don't movies. I only really like to see a movie in a theater. I don't watch them on my couch. I just like I already know it. Like things with shows. I don't like binging, like how like Stranger Things is kind of given that like formula. I don't like that. I maybe it's like I don't want to say it's a focus thing because like I can watch like a YouTube video for all 4 hours. I can turn on the FTI podcast. We can tune that in any day. But it's very much I don't know. I just like to be like in the moment because those are the moments you're gonna remember. You're gonna remember like you remember John Cena here. You remember John Cena just this past week winning that belt because we saw it. But with that being said, the good thing about this is it does open me up to finally get over that hurdle and just go back to the past. It's not like I haven't like done that. Like there are shows like such as the one we'll do next week. We can get that here in a couple moments, but yeah, I'm very happy that I get to watch this with you and
likewise
look back at the past. Because like whether it's things like I forgot, like even just this show alone, forgot that's how Edge won that world title. I think that's really cool. And like whether it is for watching it to, like look back at favorites or to be like, why did I watch this? I think that the 3's fine, as is. I maybe wouldn't turn this Survivor Series on. I still think the one that I am reaching probably the remote on is the 2019 show. With NXT, that I think will be my number one. But yeah, I think a 3 out of 5 is perfectly serviceable. Cena and Jericho did great. maybe you can skip over the rest of the show.
Friends who have tuned into the first episode of the Section 103 podcast, thank you for hanging out for these 2.5 hours with Peyton and I as we recap not only the week in wrestling, but also Survivor Series 2008. I hope going forward that we explore shows maybe both you and I are not familiar with.
Yes.
But speaking of shows we're familiar with, I'm going to let you close us out with what we're watching next week.
If we're going to do something, if we want to really kick this off, I want to just shoot big from the get-go. So I am choosing one of my, this show, maybe it might spoil ahead of time. It is a 5-star in my opinion. Probably the most enjoyable show, start to finish, that you can watch. I am taking us to 2018 with NXT TakeOver New Orleans. This show had the first Ciampa Gargano match, the 5-star ladder match, and everything in between. We will also go over, that week in wrestling. But yes, that is what we look forward to next week.